Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Tim Dilley on the line, and he's a CEO and co-founder over at Enforce Consulting. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Adam, for reaching out and having me on your show.
So I'm excited to get more into what you're doing over at Enforce Consulting and how you're helping your clients. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career and in business?
So I'm from California. I went to Fresno State University, was an accounting major. And then in my senior year of college, I was able to get a job programming at a company that had a group of Pricewaterhouse consultants running what was then called the data processing department. And so I worked with those folks in my senior year and was able to then my eyes were opened up that I could work for a public accounting firm, and this was Pricewaterhouse, not PricewaterhouseCoopers as it is today. So this was a few years ago, but I was able then to move into a position with Pricewaterhouse into a consultant training program that they offered. And so I look back now, I've been in consulting then my entire career. It's over 35 years. I think I stopped counting when you get above 35 in your career. But I, half that career has been working inside consulting firms like Anderson Consulting or Pricewaterhouse, and then half has been running consulting organizations for software companies. So I was fortunate enough to get pre-IPO opportunities with two software companies that both went public, had great success. And so, so that's my career, 35 years consulting. I've traveled extensively around the world. As you would expect as a consultant, I've spent at least one night in 43 of our 50 states. I've been on great projects. I've been on really challenging projects. But I think when I look back at my career, it's the friendships and all the amazing people that I've met over the course of my career.
Wow, that's an amazing story. So I mean, it's rare to meet, in my opinion, consultants that have, they started in consulting and maintained that for an entire career. So over 30 years. That being said, so it's you definitely have a different vantage point. That being said, there's some younger entrepreneurs or even people that are just graduating college, and I think you'd be a good person to ask this question to. So what kind of advice would you give on maybe that new crop of college grads and or entrepreneurs that are thinking of or haven't considered creating a long-term career in consulting?
Well, I talk to those graduates all the time because we're constantly hiring them ourselves. Mm-hmm. So I say, typically people are interested in consulting because of the variety of work. And so I emphasize that. There's the variety of work. The first part of your consulting career, you are a consultant, which means you are working on projects and you're taking a leadership position, eventually taking a leadership position on projects and delivering value to customers. But consulting then does offer the chance to move into a position where you're running part of the consulting business. And so I really got that opportunity when I went to go work for these software companies where they wanted me, the software companies wanted me to take responsibility for running the consulting P&L within the overall software company. So that's the thing that is unique about consulting is once you understand it and have proven yourself as a consultant, then you get the opportunity to work managing the business of the consulting operations. And that's why I've stuck with it. And a lot of people, I hear what you're saying, Adam, a lot of people do it for a while. They get burned out on the travel. Life doesn't allow them to do that. A lot of things come into play.
For sure.
But I don't as getting started in one's career, I think it's a great way to start. I think a lot of doors are opened by taking this kind of a career.
Yeah, if I could do it all over again, I always said that. I was like, I went the financial advisor path when I was graduating. That was kind of my background already, and that was how I wanted to learn about business. But then I thought about it like in retrospect, and I'm like, wow, I probably should have been a consultant first. That's one of the things that interested me most about business, not necessarily investing in certain parts of it. But no, I love it. I love your story, and yes, you are a unicorn, 30 plus years. Love it. So that being said, I do want to switch it up a bit, Tim. Let's get into what you're doing over at Enforce Consulting. So first, tell me a little bit more about the company, please.
So we founded Enforce Consulting in 2016, and we are a consulting firm that works with primarily medium-sized businesses with, say, a couple thousand employees, and we help them deploy their business on cloud software as a service applications. So, and we provide services that will allow these medium-sized businesses to run their front office, their customer-facing business processes with a cloud application. We also do back office, which would be your financials and your accounting systems, and then also cloud applications that help you manage the people, what people call human capital management, or HCM.
So I don't want to assume that all of our listeners have understand the importance of what it means to implement these types of solutions. So meaning transitioning, moving things to the cloud, and using these SaaS products. Can you go a little bit further into what type of business should be thinking about that if they haven't already gone down that path?
Well, the movement to cloud applications has been ongoing for the past dozen years or so.
Mm-hmm.
This is a far superior way to deliver technology to anybody that is consuming it. If you think about how much you rely on your personal banking application from whatever bank, where you look at your deposits and make sure payments are cleared and so forth. Being able to just log into the internet, not have to run software at your company, not have to maintain servers and all the complications related to that, make yourself susceptible to security violations and hacks. Just being able to write a subscription contract with a major software company, and your people from around the world are able to log into these applications and run whatever business process they have to run, whether it's on the people side, something as simple as just running somebody's payroll, and be able to get access to that technology just through an internet login. That's a great advantage, other than having to run your own servers and maintain that software yourself.
Now, in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, so I think that obviously a lot of the younger companies that have organizations, those mid-sized companies, I believe you said a couple thousand is what you typically work with in terms of employees. So maybe some of those younger companies are a little bit more tech savvy, and maybe they have some cloud things done, but I feel like there's a lot of legacy companies out there that still are kind of in the middle or considering what that move even looks like. And I know I don't mean this is a loaded question, because I know it's going to vary from company to company, but what does a process like that, just high level, even look like for a company? I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes for a moment of we have a 2,000 employee company. They know they need to be moving to the cloud. They know a lot of their systems are antiquated. They know they have legacy over legacy over legacy of things, and they're maybe maintaining these servers. What does that even look like? It sounds like a pretty big undertaking.
Yeah, and I think your assessment, Adam, is correct. I think the younger the company, the more apt they are to already have a number of cloud applications, and just that's the way, certainly the way our kids are growing up, is they just assume everything's available over the internet. You just log in on the internet.
Yeah, you just do it. Yeah, it's just there.
You just do it. And so it's just an assumption. But when you go into, we're working with one very large company, a manufacturing company that's been in business for 100 years. And in this case, they're trying to get their payroll systems converted. And it's exactly as you described. It's a mess of, and this is this is a bigger company than we usually work with, but boy, they have 30 different payroll systems. Most of them are on premise, and so they are trying to move all of those systems off and get them into the cloud so they can centrally manage it. That's the main thing the cloud provides, and so it just requires a lot of project planning, and you just have to take one step at a time because it does become a very complex thing.
And so in my mind, I'm thinking, and again, this is to say this is a wag is an understatement, but if I'm thinking out loud, 30 payroll systems. Once they're at the end, they're at this light at the end of the road on the tunnel. They're done. It's converted, and they now don't have 30 systems. They have one that works. The amount of man hours or woman hours or whatever you want to call it that are going to be decreased from what it must have taken to maintain those systems. Geez, I can't even imagine what would be saved based off of doing that and the speed of it now for a simple processing, or I shouldn't say simple, but for something as necessary as payroll.
So you're going to reduce your costs, but just think about your responsiveness to your employees. Just the customer service side of it as well. They have, instead of having to find the one person that knows that system that we put into production, we deployed back in 1970, that can tell me why something happens a certain way on my paycheck. Now there's it's all consolidated. There's one system. Everybody's running the same thing. Knowledge is not siloed as it used to be, and so that's just becomes the value you get out of these transformation projects, I think, is even a greater reason to do it, other than just the obvious cost savings. Obviously, you don't need as many an army of people that are keeping these systems up and running.
That's awesome. Well, hey, Tim, so I know there's some people listening right now, and they're like, yeah, we probably need to think about some of these legacy systems we have. And, yeah, we've been hearing about this cloud thing for a while, and they run big companies. What's the best way for someone to reach out and learn more about Enforce Consulting?
Well, that's really easy. Just go to our website, which is www.enforceconsulting, one word, lowercase.com, enforceconsulting.com.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Tim, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing at Enforce Consulting. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, share this with your friends and family. Do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Tim, thanks again for coming on the show.